was a time not long ago when cities like Austin, Texas, and Portland, Oregon didn't quite exist as we see them today. Before these towns became great American cities, they were communities on the rise just waiting for their stories to be told. There are more like them out there. One in particular stands out in my mind, the Great Plains capital of Oklahoma City. To casual observers like me, the name Oklahoma City calls to mind a few very specific images. There's the Federal Building bombing of 1995, the Moore tornado of 2013, and a history of covered wagons, cowboy hats, and buffalo that accompany the name Oklahoma. Yet these disasters and outdated symbols do not define this city or its people. The tragedies have served to only make the community stronger, and for every covered wagon or cowboy hat, there's a tech startup and culture story just waiting to be discovered. I traveled to Oklahoma City to witness these stories firsthand. I trained with Olympic athletes in a world-class rowing facility. I spoke to entrepreneurs and craftspeople about the businesses of tomorrow that they're building today. I climbed an abandoned grain elevator that is now a one-of-a-kind climbing gym. I visited the city's neighborhoods, its restaurants, its people. I even stood on the center circle at the Chesapeake Arena where NBA star Kevin Durant goes to work. I left intrigued and encouraged, having witnessed a city on the rise with a special story that more people must hear. Oklahoma City will surprise you. It surprised me. It's a rising beacon of tech, culture, and sport in the center of the Great Plains. Join me, Seamus Payne of thecoolest.com, as I experience Oklahoma City firsthand. An old grain elevator stands on the outskirts of downtown Oklahoma City. While its neighboring industrial buildings stand empty around it, this structure has been reimagined into one of the most impressive climbing gyms on the planet. Rocktown Climbing Gym comprises 16 large silos with indoor and outdoor climbing routes, some of which extend over 140 feet in length. It's large, it's intimidating, and it's one of the most inventive examples of urban reuse I've ever seen. I had to experience it for myself, so I dropped by Rocktown to meet climbing instructor Cruz for a tour and a climb. So Rocktown Gym, this is quite a place. How long you guys been open?
We've been a climbing gym since '99. It's been Rocktown since 2007, so definitely got some history here. For sure.
Cool. I mean, we were blown away right when we walked up.
Oh, no.
I can't imagine climbing outside. Have you made the trip yourself outside?
Yeah, definitely a few times, for sure.
All the way up top?
All the way up top.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's a different experience for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to get a climb in myself here. How does it usually work?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've got someone on the ground called the belayer. We'll train whoever wants to come do that for you, and then you'll hook up and we'll let you start climbing. You can climb as long as you want.
Cool. Okay. I'm excited to get started, man.
Sweet.
Cool. Thanks for welcoming us.
No problem.
This is pretty amazing. If you told me I'd be climbing inside of an old grain elevator in Oklahoma City a week ago, wouldn't have imagined this. This is a pretty damn cool life experience, I gotta say. Should be on everybody's bucket list. Climb a grain elevator in Oklahoma City. Thank you, Rocktown Gym.
Rocktown was as amazing as I imagined, and I'm already feeling a healthy burn in some muscles I didn't know were there yesterday. To exercise a few more, I headed over to the Boathouse District, a new development project that has changed the landscape of Oklahoma City. This complex of sculptural architecture and high-tech athletic systems stands on a river constructed for this project. Thanks to public investment, this old drainage ditch now features a one-of-a-kind water sports facility and is home to the U.S. men's Olympic rowing team. It is a remarkable facility, and my tour started with the executive director of the Boathouse District, Mike Knopp.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Seamus.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, well, welcome to the finish line.
Thank you. This is quite a view you've got here.
Well, we're pretty excited about it.
Absolutely. So when I was doing research about Oklahoma City, getting to know the lay of the land, one thing that popped out at me immediately was, this rowing facility, which seems kind of unlikely, not what I'd expect when I, look at Oklahoma City.
Right.
So what brought this to this town?
Well, this river was a ditch. I mean, for so long, for decades, it was really a glorified drainage ditch that we mowed 3 times a year. And so, back around the beginnings of MAPS, which is what we invested in our community through a sales tax initiative, one of those projects was putting water back in the river. I was a guy that could see that we had a totally straight section of ditch at the time.
Right.
And if we just had water, it could be a really unique venue because from a rowing perspective or a water sports perspective, it was straight, it was sheltered from the wind, it was just wide enough to have all the lanes that you would need for a major event, and long enough to have the 2,000 meters length. Yeah.
Okay. And since then, you guys have developed a connection with the Olympics?
We have, and that's sort of another one of those unexpected developments of our ditch, so to speak, is that, in 10 years, we went from being this place that, again, had no water to being the only river in the United States to be designated as an Olympic training site.
Right.
And so that came out of some events that we've had that kind of prove and affirm the real opportunity and the quality of the venue, which then, we had the Olympic trials here in 2008, leading into the Beijing Olympics. And that really led into the idea of this venue becoming designated as an Olympic training site.
Right. Well, not to sound crass, but you've done a lot with a ditch, I have to say. So if you could tell me a little bit about where the structure is going and what's happening with the boathouse now.
It is, Rand really tried to capture the essence of competition, of racing, and when you look from the top down, you see buildings that appear to be racing, towards the finish line. There's a lot of architectural features that are symbolic of the sports. The Chesapeake Boathouse, Rand likes to say it's light, needle thin, and fast. Looks like it's floating, very lightweight, like a racing shell. And so we're going to continue that all the way into the Whitewater Center, and even the Whitewater Center channel designs themselves will have a modern feel to it, but also it'll also feel appropriate to Oklahoma. We're not going to make it feel like you're in the middle of Colorado, because you're not. You're here,
right?
And so,
well, that's great. Well, Mike, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
this has
thank
been
you.
Excellent. Yeah,
thank
my
you.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
The Boathouse District is home to the OKC National High Performance Center, a facility designed to train Olympic athletes from around the United States. This wild modern structure faces the river like the bow of a rowboat, ready to break water like the athletes inside. It features a traditional gym, a high-tech indoor rowing system, and a boat storage facility that opens out to the river. After touring the rest of the Boathouse District, I dropped in for a workout with Cam Kiosaglis, the head coach for the OKC National High Performance Center.
It's a pretty fantastic facility.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of it. It's a few little bells and whistles that we'd like to show you around and see if you can, we'll test your stuff.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that. See what I got in me.
Yep.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about the facility. What's how to get started, how long it's been here?
The facility opened in 2010.
Okay.
And we house 4 or 5 different programs, from recreational kayak and canoe, college rowing from OCU, and then we run a high performance kayak canoe program and a rowing program, which is what I'm involved with.
Okay.
So, we have about 20 athletes, guys and girls from all over the country trying to pursue the Olympic dream.
Nice.
So
Great. Well, let's take
Let's
a
have
look.
Have a look through.
The High Performance Center is bright, airy, and clean. It feels as much like a lab as it does a gym. It was designed by architect Rand Elliott, and its contemporary features make a strong impression on both guests and athletes. It's also home to one of the most high-tech indoor rowing systems on the planet, the world's first dynamic propulsion rowing tank. This system features an 8-seat sliding station boat contained in a pair of propulsion channels. These tanks on either side provide a current that simulates the flow of water in a natural river. I hopped in to get a feel for the routine I'd soon be testing with the men's Olympic rowers. Cam and his crew can train in this tank in all weather conditions, night and day, summer and winter. Here, athletes can work on their technique and endurance with Cam to guide them to Olympic form. Each seat is monitored by an HD camera just off the end of the oar. This allows the team to track their stroke and use this data to refine their performance. It's a clean, controlled environment where bad habits can be fixed and athletes can train together as if they were out on the open water. This isn't your typical solitary rowing machine. The dynamic propulsion rowing tank is the wave of the future. While the team at the Devon Boathouse prepared for my training session with Olympic athletes, I took a break for coffee with one of OKC's rising entrepreneurs. Sandip Patel is the founder and CEO of Cage, an application that empowers creative teams with smart, easy project management and collaboration tools. It's designed to take the work and the worry out of creative project management, and it has been a wide success since its launch in 2011. It's used by designers at Pixar, Ogilvy, Target, Twitter, and more, and its adoption continues to grow. I met Sandip at Elemental Coffee, an independent shop in OKC's Midtown neighborhood.
Time in Oklahoma, pretty good, man.
So far, so good.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So tell me about Cage.
So I'll give you the short answer.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's Cage is project management and collaboration software for creative teams. So, take for instance you guys. You guys are producing this amazing story, right? You're shooting a lot of footage. There's a lot of logistics involved. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made and things like that. And what typically happens is most people would manage that with email. And what happens along the way is the conversation becomes completely disconnected from the work.
Right.
And so what we like to think we do is provide a central place for like the conversations to live, but also all the actionable things that are involved in a project, right? And so for you guys, which you guys should totally be using Cage, by the way.
You're right.
For this.
You're right. It sounds like it.
I know someone. I'll get you guys an account. But you know, at the end of the day, like what would normally happen is all these things that you're doing are going to come in this thread of hundreds of emails.
Right.
And so really what we do is provide just a central home to have all that conversation and to manage the entire process. So at the end of the day, there's a place for a creative team to share their ideas and exchange discussions, to set up to-do lists and tasks for everything that needs to get done, and then really a place for all of the what is the tangibles that you're producing to live.
Okay. So 2011 was like the official date.
We started that.
How have things for you changed in Oklahoma City since 2011 to today? What have you seen change around town in terms of startup culture, creative projects and things like that?
Yeah, so it's probably going to be relative based on where you're from.
Right.
If you're from San Francisco, like you're going to look and say, oh, that's sort of a small scene and a small culture. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if you're here and you've been here, you've not ever been more excited in your entire life. The community in Oklahoma, whether it's for designers or developers or just entrepreneurs, has never been better, ever.
Right.
There's so many people doing so many interesting things here locally. And then you're seeing more and more access to capital that probably wasn't ever available before. And I think a lot of those people are sort of have this, I don't know, they want to make an investment back in their community, And I think they want to see the community grow. They want to see their city grow for generations. So.
Right. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a great story, and I'm definitely getting a vibe of the community since I've been here.
Yeah. There's like a 5-10 second period on the drive home. Mm-hmm. That's like among one of my favorite things about the drive home. My wife and I commute together, and we pass this buffalo ranch. And so whenever I go home every day, I see this pasture full of buffalo, and it's like, man, that's what it looked like 100 years ago. You know what I mean? It was like this sort of like, these things just roamed the earth, you know? And it's like it was really, it's mesmerizing, man.
I bet it is.
It's cool. It's super cool.
That's an American story right there.
It's an iconic American sort of thing,
Right.
American story. It's cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sandip's story is very much an Oklahoman story. He's a pioneer in technology, not unlike the pioneers that first settled amongst the buffalo centuries ago. I would join Sandip later for a meal with other entrepreneurs in Oklahoma City, but for now, it's back to the boathouse. On the boat launch, Coach Cam and a crew of Olympic rowers prepare their equipment for a day on the river. I was to join Will Daly, Ed King, and Anthony Fodden in a 4-man boat for a typical practice session on the Oklahoma River. It's a normal day for these athletes, but a rare treat for me. Olympic rowboats, known here as racing shells, are razor thin, lightweight, and surprisingly fragile. A foot in the wrong place could go right through the bottom of the boat. They're not built for long-term durability, but speed and performance in the heat of a race. Each shell is barely 2 feet wide. On their own, they're not entirely stable. Had I not been seated with 3 professionals, I would have been swimming in no time. Fortunately, I was in good hands. This is rowing. 4 men moving in a coordinated cadence, gliding along the river in a boat that costs about as much as a brand new Mercedes. The speed is surprising. The grace, more so. Every effort is balanced and matched to the rower in front, with 8 arms and 8 legs operating in unison. I got a handle on the technique pretty quickly, as guided by Coach Cam, who shouted encouragement from the launch boat that followed us along the river. It was exciting. It was exhausting. We rode up and down the Oklahoma River at both a casual speed and a full effort by all. With a 2008 Olympian in front and a 2012 Olympian behind me, I got a rare glimpse into the lifestyle of Olympic sport. Seems like every city has a cool, quirky arts district that was built on the sweat and creativity of local artists. OKC has the Plaza District, home to many of the city's artists and a collection of thriving independent retail stores and restaurants. It's the kind of place where you can get a gourmet grilled cheese, borrow a book from an unofficial library stand, even watch a fanny pack fashion show. It's young, it's inventive, and it's growing from the bottom up. I visited the Plaza District and met Kristen Vales, an artist who isn't only a patron of the neighborhood, but also its executive director. We talked about the Plaza District over pizza at the Empire Slice House.
Okay, gotcha. Tell us a little bit about the Plaza District.
Yeah, so historically it was the end of the trolley line, so the trolley would come down to the Plaza District and turn around. So the commercial area formed around that, and the neighborhoods formed around that, and so it's been here since 1920, and downtowns kind of fell into disrepair, and so in the late 80s and the 90s, this area just really became a huge blight, and it was really just home for storage and buildings falling apart. So neighborhoods were sick of it and decided to do something about it, and that's kind of where our nonprofit came in to revitalize this area.
Okay, and how did that start?
There were just neighbors that were living around here and just decided they were tired of it, so they began meeting and talking about what they could do, how they could attract businesses here, investors, and see how they could change. And they got the city council involved, they got community leaders involved, and so it just really kind of spread from these neighbors, taking initiative to do something.
So very grassroots, bottom up type
yes,
of thing.
Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So in the 7 years you've been with the Plaza District, the city itself has probably changed a whole lot. What else have you seen downtown that has kind of changed the vision of Oklahoma City?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how young people like myself have been able to get involved in the process of making our city a better place. And so you have these kind of events. There's an event called Better Walk OKC, which is coming in and revitalizing areas of town that just need a little push. There's all kinds of transit projects happening, businesses. It's just a great climate for people to be able to do something, especially at a young age.
Sure. Okay.
Kristen's comments resonated with my experience so far in OKC. There's a do-it-yourself spirit here, and a sense that if you take a step forward, the community has your back. There's an example of this not far from the Plaza District, on the street level at the Skirvin Hilton Hotel. Here, an artist with an unusual craft has been awarded a residency in the finest luxury hotel in the city. Arsenios Corbishley is the founder and namesake of Corbishley Violins, a one-man shop producing stringed instruments in the old world style. He uses traditional tools and techniques to craft fine, handmade violins, violas, and cellos for professionals and students alike.
I have to say that the city itself has been fairly welcoming, I think, because what I do isn't very common. Most instrument makers don't have studios that are, have 3 glass windows and are on a major street corner in downtown of any city. Right. For the most part, that's not the case. Having a violin maker in a space like this, either in a residency or just in a space like this, is fairly uncommon. The city, I think, has been very receptive to what I'm doing. In the first week that I was in this space, before it was kind of obviously a violin shop, I had 2 people come in independently of each other, and they both asked, so what are you doing in here? And so I told them, well, I'm a violin maker. And they both replied with, oh, so I didn't know people did that anymore. And I was floored, because I've dealt with musicians and been in this industry for so long that I kind of forgot that there are other people that don't know. Mm-hmm. So it's been kind of humbling in that regard.
Can't tell a story about Oklahoma City without talking Thunder basketball, so I stopped by the Chesapeake Arena for a one-on-one with Thunder VP of Communications, Dan Mahoney. Mahoney gave me an inside look at the Chesapeake, where NBA stars Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, and others go to work. As a die-hard NBA fan myself, getting a private tour of the Thunder basketball court was a genuine thrill. The Thunder are a big draw for Oklahoma City, a point of pride shown on t-shirts, billboards, and local art that seems to be everywhere in the city, even in the off-season.
So the Thunder came to this facility in 2008. Before that, the Hornets had came to town after the Hurricane Katrina kind of came through New Orleans. So in a weird way, Oklahoma City's kind of been destined for an NBA team. How has the community responded to the Thunder coming to town?
I would say that if we didn't have that level of community support and sponsor support, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
We had the building. When the Hornet situation came up, the league looked to the city to say, you have a building, could you do it? We certainly had the building, we were able to do it, but what we showed during that 2-year period was the level of support, the level of excitement for the NBA product. And that told the NBA this could be a potentially good market. But you had to show more than that. You had to show that you had the business support, you had the community support, and the best way that our community came forward and showed that level of support was by passing in 2008, before the relocation, passing a tax, 15-month tax that would pay for $100 million of improvements to this building to make an already good NBA arena an even better one.
Sure.
And so if that didn't happen, I'm not sure we'd be here.
Right.
And so that level of confidence and that level of support from the taxpayers and from the community really showed the rest of the NBA Oklahoma City can do it.
Yeah. Well, it's been special. We've been here for a few days now, and it's the off season. But we travel around Oklahoma City and we see Thunder apparel, Thunder everything, everywhere. It's interesting here. We've learned the dynamic of the differences between the 2 universities here that kind of compete against each other. But this has been kind of a unifying force from what we've seen. everyone we've spoken to has a story about their own connection with the Thunder that's been interesting for us to learn while we're here.
Well, we actually, that has sort of just organically cropped up.
Sure.
This whole idea that you leave your red and orange at the door.
Yeah, okay.
You can be an OSU fan wearing orange, you can be an OU fan wearing the crimson, but when you get here, you're wearing Thunder blue.
Right, side
and
by
you
side.
may be sitting next to it. If you're a Sooner, you may be sitting next to a Cowboy.
Okay.
And you don't talk about Bedlam
Right.
at that point of time. You are talking about the Thunder. And
Okay.
we didn't plan it that way. That wasn't some marketing strategy that we put forth. It
Yeah.
just happened, and that proves how genuine it is. Now, I will say that one of our colors is sort of a combination red and orange.
Okay.
So now that reflects the Oklahoma sunset, but if it can also reflect the combination of Sooner red and Cowboy
Right.
orange, that's good too.
Now, do you have a hand in that battle between those two?
No.
No? Not personally?
Stay out of the middle of that one.
Good
I
call.
went to the University of New Mexico. We never win anything. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Somebody walking in this building could be the first NBA experience they've ever had. And we have to treat everybody.
And I bet you see a
like
lot of that here.
We do.
Yeah.
People, relatives who are visiting, friends who are visiting, people from out of town, people who
Right.
are just traveling through. You have a number of people who come from other states and other countries for the sole purpose of coming to see a Thunder game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really cool to me.
Right.
And like we had somebody from Mexico say, we love the Thunder. And they have no connection to Oklahoma. I guarantee they didn't know where Oklahoma was until they got the map out and they drove from
Right.
Mexico to come see the Thunder.
Wow.
And that is very humbling to us. And in Oklahoma City, it's still kind of hard to believe that anybody would want to make this a destination spot to come see a Thunder game. But it's genuine, and we don't take it for granted. We
Right.
appreciate everything that happens like that.
That's excellent. So you got time for a game of horse?
You might as well just collect your trophy now on that one. There's a reason I wear the tie. And I don't.
Not the uniform, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been great. I appreciate your time.
I'm glad you guys stopped by.
Yeah, likewise.
For a new stadium, the Chesapeake Arena has seen more glory than many others. After my pickup game with Dan Mahoney, I headed back to Midtown for a meal at Packard's OKC. Sandip Patel from Cage and a group of local entrepreneurs joined me for lunch. From biotech to web development to childcare management, a full range of talent joined me at the table. The food, new American gourmet with locally sourced inspiration. The topic, startup culture in Oklahoma City. The best side dish to a great meal is good company, and I was in the right place for both.
Hey, Sandip. How you doing, man? Good to see you again. All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm Seamus. Good to meet you guys. Is this a nice place? I like it.
Favorite local haunt.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
See the rooftop.
Yes.
I've been told about that.
Amazing.
That nice. Okay.
Supposedly nice cocktails.
Okay.
That's what I hear.
Right. Well, maybe we'll find out in a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
And the occasional yoga class as well.
Yoga
Up on
class?
the
Here?
rooftop.
In here?
On the rooftop. They do.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. I didn't bring my yoga mat.
I didn't do my yoga pants, so.
Okay. There you go.
I would love to see you.
I always have my. It's a beautiful thing.
I bet.
So, basically my experience with Oklahoma City, and I think this is common for people that aren't from the city, aren't from the area, they know three things. They know the federal building, they know the tornadoes that hit outside of town a couple years ago, and they know the thunder.
At least there's one positive in there.
Yeah, I know. Right? Exactly. There's a lot of bad things there.
Right.
There's a good thing. There's one good thing.
Well, that's what I'm here to kind of get to know, is the cool stories. Stuff people might not be aware of about this town, about things that, somebody's moving here, somebody gets a job here, or somebody's traveling through that, they can actually find some really interesting and cool things, in Oklahoma City. So, you work with WordPress. What's been your experience here? Like, how long has your business been in Oklahoma City?
6.5 years now.
6.5 years, okay.
My story is I started it in my house, and then we're 23 people today, but about 14 or 15 of those are in Oklahoma City. So as we grew, we tried to hire tech, and these guys know very well that hiring tech in a historically oil and gas state, cattle farming, all that kind of stuff is pretty tough. But we tried to hire first from here until we got to a point where we realized that if we wanted to grow, we had to go elsewhere. We tried to, midstream is connecting with guys like Sandip, trying to say, how can we build community here? So it's tough. It's a mindset thing, I think, as far as Oklahoma City goes. But I love being around these ladies and gentlemen because there's some good stuff going on in Oklahoma City, but I don't know if everybody knows there's a K-Jack being, a cool thing that people back in, Hollywood are using. And same with us, is, I think people know us more outside of Oklahoma than inside. So we tried to change that and be a part of building the community, but I think we're right at ground zero, just trying to see some things take off from the ground. Right. But it's been fun. This is home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. People's impressions of Oklahoma always change when they come here. I think, hands down. Like, anytime someone, even like yourself, from a big city comes into Oklahoma City, I almost feel like, hands down, always, you can count on them saying, it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be like.
Over lunch, I was getting a sense of the varied stories of the startup community in OKC. Among these is the story of Leah Sullivan, co-founder of Neoporter, a fresh new take on the childcare and household management industries. Neoporter is a network of sorts that pairs babysitters, errand runners, and pet sitters with families who need them. They built a safe, easy, no-nonsense process to manage the relationships between families and helpers in cities around Oklahoma. It's an old industry, and it has benefited from this injection of young, connected leadership. Leah Sullivan joined us for lunch to share a bit of her story.
So Leah, earlier you talked about how you grew up here, but you left for a while and you came back, and you've been working on Neoporter here. What is Neoporter to you?
Neoporter to me is basically I get the opportunity to let people do what I love doing, which is babysitting. I've done it my whole life, through college, through high school. So what I do is I basically find families for people who are looking for families to babysit for, good families. So that's basically what it is.
Okay. And you mentioned that you left town, came back. How has your experience been since coming back here to town and working here as a professional?
Well, first of all, could not have gotten out of Oklahoma City any quicker. I went to high school here, and then I went to undergrad here, and I was like, as soon as I graduate, I'm moving. I moved to California for a year, I moved to Costa Rica for a year, and then I came back here, and it was kind of about the time where the city started progressing drastically. And now I love it. And for Neoporter, it's been perfect. There's such a sense of community here. It's easy networking for a startup business. Oklahoma City has really been the perfect place for my business.
Well, 10 years ago, all of those preconceived notions were more or less true. But the last 10 years in Oklahoma City have just been an incredible renaissance that we could only have seen with the advent of these huge companies, predominantly oil and gas, that have seen huge moves. And with that, the economy has just, rising tide lifts all boats. So the economy in Oklahoma City has just been, Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, all these companies that analyze those kind of things have said Oklahoma City is the best small city for startups, for business, for entrepreneurship. And that's really starting to bear fruit.
People are paying attention to that. That's what brought us here. We had looked at different locations we wanted to check out to kind of learn more of, learn about new places around the country where there's a rise amongst cities like this. And Oklahoma City was, a standout location. It wasn't a mistake that brought us here. There's something happening here that was attractive, that I wanted to learn more about, and that's why I'm here with you guys.
I came to Oklahoma City because I was called here by a growing chorus of positive news stories and big headlines. Everywhere I turned, someone had something good to say about OKC. It seems like every top 10 list about cities on the rise features Oklahoma City at or near its peak. I was curious, and I was intrigued, and when I came here, I was fulfilled. This city has grown into one of the best, still hidden gems in the United States. Its culture, its sport, its startup community is a draw for those in the Great Plains and beyond. From the Olympic rowers at the Boathouse District to the grassroots community of artists in the Plaza, I discovered a little bit of everything for entertainment. I felt welcome among the entrepreneurs and young business leaders that shared their stories with me as well. In total, I see the rising spirit in Oklahoma City. I witnessed it firsthand. The story here isn't about covered wagons or cowboy hats, but a young, urban, creative community where a guy like me could set down roots and share in its pride.